In any Pokemon Hardcore Nuzlocke, whenever a Pokemon faints, it has to be boxed forever and no items can be used in a battle. So yeah, pretty normal intro, right? The normal type is one of the few types of Pokemon that a lot of people don't often run in their teams solely because of how they lack any sort of resistances with only one immunity. But they are credited for having such cool options alongside a colorful move pool and stat spreading, allowing them to actually serve a multitude of roles in any given battle. Though it is time to put them to the test and try to beat a Pokémon Brick Bronze Hardcore Nuzlocke using only normal types. And just before the video starts, I would like to thank you guys for your amazing support, and I hope that you can enjoy the ride we are about to go on. So without further ado, I dash towards the lab where I pretty much pick a random starter since it won't matter what I choose, and I can get a normal type as early as Route 1 since right after I run around here, my encounter is a Bunnelby that I catch and name Bugs. Admittedly, I am actually happy it was a Bunnelby since with its potential ground typing soon, we can check a lot of the poison and rock types ahead of the game with it. Although it is unfortunate that we miss out on the huge power ability, so I just carry on towards Cheshma Town where I can chase after Linda, though not before waiting until night time since this allows me a 50-50 in this area to catch a normal type. With one of them being a Squovet, I needed to find a Hoot Hoot instead, which I thankfully managed to find, and I nickname it Owl Jolson. Ideally, having Hoot Hoot here also gives me access to Hypnosis, which may come in handy against some of the scenarios that I may face up ahead. So once I defeat Linda, I can cross the bridge, reach Route 3, and eventually after into Sylvan City, which I normally would just go ahead and get the regular Eevee here, but remember, it's a normal Nuzlocke, and Eevee only retains that typing as an Eevee. Though that's no big deal since by visiting the Pokemon Center and opening the PC, if you wait just a little bit, you can notice in the background that there is one Pokemon sprite glowing in pink, and once you click on it, you are allowed to fight against Porygon, which is the optimal choice for our team here, and I name it Marvin. So once I level up the squad quite decently, I challenge the first gym leader of the run, and Marvin here can absolutely cook this entire gym since by using conversion 2 the moment Shinx clicks on an electric type move like charge here, I can transform into any type that resists electric, and I end up becoming an electric type myself. So what this means is Charge Beam North Thunder Wave off of Pikachu can slow me down, and I can easily kill Chat's team with a bunch of side beams that are boosted by Porygon's download ability, raising my special attack for an easy arc badge. As I head to Route 4, the only encounter I can pick up here is a Pidgey that I capture and name Tweety. And upon entering Route 5, I can pick up another normal type which is a Litleo that I name Leo. And I just spent some time leveling around this bug catcher here enough that Pidgey evolves into Pidgeotto, and I go ahead and challenge Jake just at the entrance of Rimber City, though his Eevee was rather annoying since I was not only paralyzed but also forced to take sand attacks, barely making me land any move, and I just switch into Pidgeotto and finish it off with a Gust. Blitzel makes me switch into Bunnelby here, defeating it with 2 mud shots, and then the same is applied to Nidoran, who even with double kick does not kill me either way, and Hoot Hoot does evolve into Noctowl, and then I can progress into Brimber City, where I head afterwards into Route 6 to deal with the trouble in the volcano. There is pretty much 0 normal types around this particular segment, so I just spent some time leveling enough that Bugs evolves into Diggersby, which is perfect since Team Eclipse does have a lot of poison and fire types, so Mudshot can take care of them. And even when I fight the admin, he proves to be light work since Litleo can defeat his own edge with some embers, Volibee doesn't even attack once so I can knock it out with some headbutts, and with Lunatone not possessing a single rock move, all I do is use Bugs and click on a bunch of double kicks, though I am put low on health, so I switch into Porygon and I am annoyingly put into sleep yet again with Hypnosis, though after eating a Psy-Wave, Lunatone just doesn't attack again, and I can use Recover to heal back alongside Conversion 2 becoming a Steel type, and can take out Lunatone with 3 Psy Beams. So once I have access to the second gym, I head there and I can challenge Sebastian. By leading with Diggersby, a Mudshot isn't enough for a kill, and Litleo does hit with a takedown, but it ends up falling anyways. And once Growlithe is out, an overhit from it deals laughable damage, so after I hit it with a Mudshot, I choose to switch into Marvin here since with a -2 special attack, I have 0 worry about any overheats coming from it, and I'm actually fast enough to use conversion 2, becoming a water type in the process, making me better positioned against his upcoming Magmar after I knock out the Growlithe. No matter what it uses, I will eat them really well and even heal back the damage with Recover, and with one Psybeam after another, Magmar falls and I beat Sebastian for the Brimstone badge. Once I enter Route 7, another teammate can be added, and that is a Bidoof that I catch and name Quinn Eastwood, which doesn't even take too long for it to evolve into a B-Barrel, and I can battle against the Lumberjacks here to fix the dam and cross the river to reach Laguna Lake, which I go for the lap in order to dig up some items out of the driving machine, and then I make progress into Route 8 where I had hoped for a Baniri here, but I end up getting a Lillipup that I catch. And then just as I undergo plenty of 2v2 battles with Jake, to which Litleo can also evolve into a Pyroar, but after I fight this black belt, I end up losing B-Barrel since once I tried switching out into Tweety, I get nailed with a Pursuit, marking the end for our Beavers run. I wasn't honestly too upset since B-Barrel doesn't get Swords Dance here since it follows the Gen 6 Learn set, so I was doubtful that it served me a big purpose. So once I enter Rose Cove City, I spend some time training the new Lillipup on my team that it evolves into a Herdier, and then as I begin battling against Team Eclipse, it further evolves into a Stoutland, with which it's actually come at a perfect time since Stoutland can single-handedly deal with most of them up until the two lackeys next to the admin, and it even makes Pidgeotto evolve into a Pidgeot, and once I battle the admin himself, it was a little concerning because nothing on my team does hard damage and Solrock does set up Cosmic Power, raising its defenses, so what I do here is bring out Al Jolson to use Hypnosis, putting Solrock to sleep, and I can switch into Stoutland, which can thankfully take out the Solrock with 2 crunches. And then I can just watch Team Eclipse get nuked to oblivion before I head towards the 3rd gym and challenge Quentin's water types. Bizarrely enough, I actually teach Diggersby Grass Knot and lead the battle with it, since I want to preserve on using Porygon in this battle due to how nasty Scald actually hits me with. And even though I take Brine in the process, another Grass Knot is enough to seal the deal against Whelmer. Then when Gorbis is out, what I try doing is switching out into Noctowl and try putting it to sleep, which does pay off, and I click on Air Slash the next turn, which does get the flinch after Gorbis wakes up, and even though another one causes me to get hit by a Skull, I still survive and can finish off Gorbis with another Air Slash. Lastly is Huntail, and fearing an Ice Fang here, I gamble on Noctowl, landing another Hypnosis here, which does happen, and I choose to make a safe play here, so I switch into Stoutland, where after I click Takedown, getting a critical hit and putting it into the red, I can just safely click on Takedown. Okay, no problem, I'm still healthy enough, so let's just take it out. Okay, Stoutland, it was funny the first time, you can stop now. Fine, so with that ridiculous RNG out of the way, I get the float badge and I can head to Route 9 where I met Tess and Jake and engage in a battle with the two of them, which ends just as you would expect it to, complete and utter destruction. And on Route 10 I can find my next teammate, which comes at a very good time here, a Helioptile that I catch and name Taz. Though our little friend here is going to stay this way until he reaches level 49, since there are a couple of moves I wanted to learn before evolution. So once I navigate through Mount Kriganos, which I pretty much decide to skip on the encounters in both the cliffs and the peaks, since they are completely filled with normal and flying types mostly, I am able to reach Anthean City, and I can head towards the 4th gym where I can train up Helioptile somewhat comfortably, save for a few of the trainers here, and once I'm able to get it to level 49, I can finally use a Sunstone to evolve it into a Heliolisk, to which I challenge Steven's flying types, and it just goes to town against every single Pokemon of his, except Braviary because I accidentally click on Volt Switch here, but it's no worries since Pidgeot comfortably eats any move it throws at it, and I can just finish it off for the Soaring badge. As I basically head towards the sewers doing 2v2 battles with Tess, I am able to reach the outside where I try rescuing Jake, but I am stopped by Cyprus in the process for a battle. Although that isn't before I actually stop by the trade resort where a friend of mine can help me evolve my Porygon into a Porygon 2 with a health upgrade. And even though I can further evolve it into Porygon Z, The structure of my team forces me to have something physically bulky, therefore I decide that throughout the run I will stick with just Porygon 2. So once I begin my fight with Cyprus, I usually prefer to sacrifice Absol here, but this time I choose to hard switch into Pyroar on an oncoming Solar Beam, which I will resist, and I take this opportunity to set up a workup raising my special attack, and on the next turn I can finish the Venusaur with a Flamethrower. Then as for Alligator is out, I was pretty surprised that it survives a Hyper Voice, and I'm further impressed by how Pyroar actually tanks an Earthquake here, which doesn't kill, so it allows me to defeat the Feraligatr as well. And considering how Blaziken doesn't have good defenses here, a single Hyper Voice is enough for the kill, and Torterra is charged to death with Flamethrower. And against Samurott, I make the switch into Heliolisk, who I actually had used an ability capsule given to me in order to make Heliolisk have dry skin instead of Sand Veil, allowing me to have immunity to water moves, though Samurott does go for Dig, and knowing how bad its defenses are, I make the switch into Pidgeot here, and this thing just goes back and forth between us until Samurott just uses Ice Beam, and he gets the nonsensical bullshit freeze as if I'm reliving what happened to me last time. And even though I try to force Samurott to use Brine here, it just keeps going for Ice Beam and ultimately Dragon Tail, sending in Pidgeot, and although I try to lower its attack with Feather Dance, it nailed me with a pretty nasty Ice Beam, but I can just use Recover to recover back the damage. And soon enough, I decide to just switch into Porygon 2 here since I am pretty physically bulky, and I can nail it with only one discharge, which does not kill as it phases me out with Dragon Tail back into Heliolisk. So I just bring back Porygon 2 on a Dig, and I can finally knock out this stupid Odor, leaving only Delphox last, which Porygon is able to survive at maximum 3 moves by Delphox unless I get a critical hit, so a combination of Discharge and Tri-Attack is enough to defeat Cyprus, with which I can head back towards the peaks and then take the Skytrain into Route 11. It does take a while running around this area, but I can eventually encounter a new capture in the form of Cyclizar, who, let's just ignore his garbage IVs right here, cause what the heck is that? And then I can reach Iridia City, where as you can see by this giant fat creature in front of me, I'm willing to catch, but in order to do so, I first have to head towards Iridia Ruins, where the prince is also there, being harassed by Team Eclipse, and I assist him by entering in a battle against them, to which once I defeat them, I can run around this area in the hopes of finding an Ekans, which doesn't take long, but when I do find it, I catch it. The reason why is because by having an Ekans on the team, I am able to talk to this NPC who's playing the flute, where I can exchange the Ekans for a Pokeflute, and I can play it right next to Snorlax, which I can battle and then catch, where I name it Sylvester. I make a little stop by the Battle Coliseum to teach Pidgeot some moves a little early on that can spare me some of the hassle Ryan is about to do to me, and I can go back to Iridia City in order to challenge the gym leader. I lead with Heliolisk against his Quagsire, and I made sure to teach it Grass Knot beforehand, which once it's boosted by a Miracle Seed, allows me to secure the kill on Quagsire quite easily. Then once Steelix is out, I make the switch into Pidgeot, and the best thing this can do to me is use an Iron Tail, but it ends up using Bulldoze, and I can go for a Heat Wave before Mega Evolving, so as to not let Steelix land its moves thanks to No Guard, and another one finishes the job. When Claydol is out, I can click on a Hurricane here, which gets it at red HP, but it ends up using Bulldoze again for some strange reason, and it can fall the next turn. Excadrill here was the reason I made sure Pidgeot learned Heat Wave, since with its high special attack and no way to miss, it's enough to kill the Excadrill. And then lastly was his Garchomp, which I can survive any move it throws at me even if it was a critical hit, and 2 Hurricanes is enough to seal the deal for the Crater Badge. I progress through the game a little, making sure that my Snorlax levels up high enough, and even surprisingly it actually holds its own well even when underleveled, and I go past Route 12, Route 13, and finally into Floroma City. You can pretty much bet on the fact I dash to the gym immediately, since the weapon that will absolutely obliterate this gym with relative ease is good old Tweety over here, since all it needs is to Mega Evolve and spam Heat Waves and Hurricanes around every single Pokemon Fizzy possesses for an easy Harvest badge. With Tess giving me the HM for rock climb, it allows me to go past Route 14 up until I reach the entrance to Route 15, where Team Eclipse stops me and the two lackeys are just complete dog water, and Jake does force some switch outs, like how this garbage diggers bee of mine can't even kill with an earthquake against this Nidoking, or this Slowbro forcing me to spam Roost as it annoyingly clicks on Psychic, getting a Spadef drop, and Arcanine can't even kill with Fire Fang here, and I get the confusion from Hurricane as it just hits itself, putting it down. And the same goes to Flareon, who clicks a Lava Plume, and 2 Hurricanes is enough to defeat Jake. As I enter Route 15, there is absolutely nothing I can catch here, so I just sprint all the way until I reach Frostvale City, and as per usual, I go on and train the squad off camera, including the Snorlax, pretty high enough so that I can enter the gym and challenge Zeke's dark types. Initially, I would have loved to use Curse on Snorlax, making this gym 1,000 times easier, but it is unfortunately an egg move, so I just use Heliolisk to kill the Conch Crow. Then as Crocodile is out, I switch into Diggersby here, thinking it actually do a solid job, but I'm not surprised at how disappointing it is given how Hammer Arm only deals a quarter of its HP, and I ultimately bring Pidgeot here on an outrage that does not even do half to me, and I Mega Evolve here for further defenses. And I can just stall out the turns until it gets confused with Roost, to which once it is, it hits me with a weak Fire Fang, and a Hurricane is enough for the kill. Bisharp is next, and all it takes is a single Heat Wave to knock it out, and Umbreon is a little annoying on the special defense side, so I just resort to using Snorlax here, who can have zero worries about Toxic poisoning me, let alone Assurance that comes after that. And it's just a game of repeated healing and attacking with Body Slam and Rest until I actually find room to defeat the Umbreon while having a high amount of HP in the case I need it against his last Pokemon. The second Crocodile also forces another switch out into Pidgeot again, and it's actually a good play as it uses Earthquake, and a single Hurricane is enough for the kill, which also gets a critical hit. Finally was his Houndoom, and I end up staying in with Pidgeot here, to which I actually outspeed and hit it with Hurricane, getting a confusion as well, and it even hits itself in the process, allowing me to cleanly kill the Houndoom with Hurricane and earn the Contrast badge. As I head towards Route 16, the battle against Tess is sort of hilarious since I make a stop by the Battle Coliseum to teach Porygon Ice Beam here, and it proves to actually obliterate the entire team that she has, save for Druddigon, who I narrowly avoid losing Porygon to because I actually get a lucky freeze here, and Altaria gives me room to heal back with Recover and finish it with Ice Beam. And then I can slide down the mountain towards this grass patch here for a special reason in order to catch a Furfrou that I named Zombie. So that one is for you, my friend. So once I travel through Cosmos Valley until I reach Port Deca, where I meet with Brad and Tess, who gives me the HM for Surf, I can use it to make my way through Route 17 and all the way until Crescent Town, where I look for Team Eclipse's hideout here, and I start my infiltration around the base until I reach the command room, where I destroy this grunt and unlock access to my parents' cell room, to which I chase after, but Jake just starts putting a stop to me until it just goes as you would expect it to, and I then head towards Route 18 until I reach the Demon's Tomb, where Cyprus tries to summon Hoopa, and then I start my battle against Cyprus one last time. Rather amazingly, I thought Volt Switch would actually kill Greninja here, but it ends up surviving on a Slither, and I switch into Pidgeot before doing it again with Heliolisk and finishing the job with another Volt Switch, positioning me properly against his incoming Decidueye as I switch into Pidgeot, and one Hurricane is enough for a clean kill. Incineroar does hit me for pretty nasty damage with Flare Blitz after I hit it with a Hurricane here, but I can take it out with no issue later. Then once Empoleon is out, it's free Heliolisk food since it can't hit me with water moves and all it has is Steel Wing, so it takes one Thunderbolt putting it low on health, and then a Volt Switch to make sure that I can safely switch in Pidgeot here on his incoming Sceptile, and I can just heal back with Roost, getting to as high HP as possible before going on the offensive and taking it out with a Hurricane. Lastly was his Charizard X, and Pidgeot proves why it's the absolute GOAT of this run, as it not only outspeeds Charizard X nailing it with Hurricane, and it even survives the Dragon Claw here, allowing me to land one final one to defeat Cyprus, to which the dude gets tossed into the Nether Realm, and Jake makes a sacrifice for Tess, leaving Hoopa up to me, which falls to Diggersby with Facades. With the world safe now, all that's left for me is one last obstacle in beating this run, and it's the battle against Captain B's ghost types. I lead with Pyro here even though I forgot to teach it Dark Pulse beforehand, but Gengar just doesn't go on the offensive here at all, and it ends up falling to 2 crunches. Then as the Decidueye is sent out, it's a little disappointing that Flamethrower doesn't exactly kill here, but a Brave Bird from Decidueye is no big deal to worry about, so I can finish it off with another Flamethrower. Spiritomb is a little terrifying since after I try hitting it with Flamethrower, it goes for Nasty Plot here, and I know I won't survive a Dark Pulse, so I switch into Snorlax, who's our best special defense. And it actually holds its own against it, despite the fact Spiritomb has a +4 buff to special attack, and it just ultimately keeps spamming Sucker Punch here, so I just managed to beat it with a couple crunches. Miss Magius being sent out here is perfect since it legitimately has 0 offensive moves, so I'm able to defeat it with Pidgeot's moves, and Aegislash pretty much could be dangerous here, but Pidgeot just spits on its face, landing a burn on Aegislash with Heat Wave, and just deals such lifeable damage, so it too falls to another Heat Wave. Lastly was this Mega Sableye, but it just has a massive brain fart moment, and it clicks on Shadow Ball, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, a final Hurricane on Sableye takes it out to not only obtain the Haunted Badge, but complete a Pokémon Brick Bronze Hardcore Nuzlocke using only normal types. I had too much fun using such a basic type like this one, and honestly this one actually rekindled my love for Mega Pidgeot given how good its stats are alongside No Guard, making it accurately land every single move it has. So it was definitely my favorite MVP here. Of course, if you guys reached this far into the video, why not drop a like and subscribe to the channel as it helps me out a lot. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.